Hello there, YouTube. JT from Serenity Farms Prepping. So today's topic is social distancing and how much I despise that word and all the negative consequences I believe that the stigma of that word is going to cause. Okay. Why do I not like that word? Because I believe this is actually a time where we don't need to distance ourselves from everyone. We actually need to do the opposite. We need to socialize more. Especially the elderly, the young. We're going to be socializing more. The elderly are going to be the folks that are isolated the most, because it appears that they are the most susceptible to this bioweapon and they need to stay shut in wherever they may be. If they're at a senior home, it might not be so bad because they were all shut in there, and I've seen photos of them sitting in front of their doorways, spaced apart at least 10 or 12 feet, playing bingo in the hall. That's fantastic. But we all know some elderly folks that live by themselves or might not have anyone. Those folks are going to need us. So social distancing doesn't work for me in that terminology. If we know someone is infected or has been in direct contact with someone who's infected, do we need to practice safe spacing? Or, let's think, we need to take care of ourselves. If we know someone's infected or has been in direct contact with someone, stay the hell away. That's pretty simple. Okay, so the results of this social distancing isolation are going to be negative for people with mental health issues, and people who have no one, people who lose their jobs. It's all going to be a snowball effect for a lot of these people. And we, the healthy community, we're going to need to keep an eye and ear out for these folks. There's always many signs for us to see, hear, just get a feel for, to determine if somebody is spiraling into depression, fear, isolation, and potentially suicides. Alright, so what are some of the signs that you should all look for that would give you a clue that someone is in potential distress of some kind? Okay, let's go appearance first. So you see many people that you've known for a long time. We don't realize how our brain saves so much information about everybody we know, everybody we come in contact with, until we see them and then we realize something's not right. We remember sights, sounds, smells, colognes, if they smoke cigars, if they have a cat. There's just so many things that you don't realize you know about a person until you recognize that something's wrong. So you see someone that you haven't seen for a week or so. Or you see them every day for a week. They're wearing the same clothes. The clothes are disheveled. They're wrinkled. They're dirty. They're tattered. They're torn. Very out of character for this person. Maybe the person is wearing a knit hat to hide hair that hasn't been washed or combed or cut for a long time. And they don't take it off when they're inside. Maybe they're wearing a baseball hat, once again, to cover up something. They don't take that off when they're inside, and they've always been a person with very good manners. Their hands. Maybe they're fidgeting. Maybe their fingernails are long and their hands are dirty or bruised up, or they put them in their pockets, or their fists are clenched, or they're just fidgeting. You shake hands. The person's always good grip. Might be very weak or clammy or very rough or very smooth where the person was a worker. Or they refuse to shake hands. Okay, so let's move. Okay, footwear. Is their footwear appropriate for the conditions? Like right now, I got 4 inches of snow last night. If someone I see that I've known is wearing sandals, that's not probably something that they do all the time. Or their shoes are untied. A person always has their shoes tied. They're neat. They're orderly. Or they're wearing their pants tucked in a pair of boots like the military does, where they're not wearing military fatigues or boots or in the reserve. It's a pair of jeans and boots, and it's normally they're dressed in dress pants and dress shoes. Those are what the person may be unshaven, where they're neat and meticulous. Maybe it'll appear that they haven't brushed their teeth for a few days. Or there might just be a body odor that you've never recognized. Or normally they always have a certain cologne on and they have none. Okay, their eyes. Maybe they're wearing sunglasses because they don't want to reveal that they haven't been sleeping, or maybe they've been crying, or it's just their pupils are dilated or not dilated, or they're looking all over the place and they don't take their sunglasses off inside. Or you see this normally gregarious, outgoing person at a gathering of less than 10 people, and everyone's sitting, they prefer to stand and they're off to the side. Or everyone's standing and they move over to a corner, their back's up against the wall. They appear to be scanning the room often, looking around. Anything that just seems uncharacteristic, you're automatically going to acknowledge it, and you didn't even know that you knew so much about the person. A person who's normally I don't want to say loud, but is now very quiet. Or a person who's normally very outgoing and always talking is quiet. Or the opposite, a person who's very quiet all the time, very polite, spoken to, is now quite outgoing, seems a little bit more excited than normal. People who are in depression, or even worse, fear, anxiety, suicidal, don't think everyone that is, you would think is on the downhill slide, gets quiet. It doesn't work that way for a lot of people. Some people get the opposite. They've come to a decision in their mind and they get excited. They have lost the sense of what's morally right or wrong, and that this is the final step, but they're excited because they're not thinking right. Now what you have to decide, how do we approach this person? If you've known them their whole lives or for a long time, you still have to be careful. This person may not be the person you knew a couple days ago. You got to play that by ear. I don't recommend being confrontational, because that person is probably trying to avoid answering any questions. Because most people know themselves something's going on, and they won't be happy or proud of the way they look or what. So you have to be careful for yourself and others around you. You have to be tactful. You have to approach a person and speak to them in a way that allows them to maintain their pride and dignity. Okay? The last thing you want is to accidentally say something demeaning or something that brings that person down even further. So if you don't really think that you have a grasp on what's going on and can handle it, I wouldn't advise doing it. Try and get with someone who has experience in that and let them try it. Because people who don't recognize certain signs are trying to do the right thing and could accidentally make things worse. It's no one's fault, it just happens. Okay? So use your judgment there. Don't make a rush to judgment. Alright, so that's for someone that you're seeing all the time. Now you're walking down your street, or you're taking a drive, you drive by your neighbor's house or a relative's house, someone that you see all the time. Curtains are closed. All of them. They're never closed. Or all the curtains are open, and they're never open. The lawn appears to be unkempt, maybe a little longer. This person always takes very good care of their lawn. Or their recycling bin isn't out. They always put it out on the proper day. Or their trash cans aren't out. Or it appears that their mail or newspapers are piling up on the porch or in the mailbox, but yet their car's home. Maybe they park their car in the driveway all the time and it's not in there now. Anything that's out of character. Maybe there's no steam or smoke coming out of a chimney, and you know they're home, you know they burn wood. Maybe the windows appear to be fogged up. Maybe there's a small opening in a curtain, top, upstairs, downstairs. As you walk by, you know someone's peering out. Anything that you think is out of character. So, we need to, and we all know, I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure everyone gets as much information as they can. So, I'm going in 100 different directions. And so don't be afraid to text somebody, call somebody on the phone. I'm touching my computer, Skype, FaceTime on your phone, whatever other video programs there may be. You're walking down the street, you see an elderly person sitting in their window looking out. Smile and wave to them. That means a lot. Somehow, if you don't know them, you could find out if there's something that they need. They may open the window and you could just, "Hi, how are you? Is there anything I can get for you? I'll just get it and I'll leave it on your porch." That could mean they might just want you to put a lawn chair for a moment and sit and just talk to them. Safe distance. There's just so much we can do. There's so many people we have to keep an eye on. There's going to be, if this hysteria drags out, there's going to be so many people that lose jobs. get unemployed, maybe find out they test positive, but they're asymptomatic, but it still bothers them. Everyone handles adversity differently. Not everyone is mentally strong enough for 3 or 4 negative things to happen at one time. They may not seem that bad in the grand scheme of things, but to a person who's down on their luck, yes, they do. They pile up. Okay? Now, if you decide to approach someone you know that appears to be in some sort of distress, there are mannerisms that you need to avoid doing also to help them remain calm. Because remember, they're not going to be in the same mindset that you normally know them to be. Okay? Now, in my career in law enforcement and the thousands of interviews I had to do with mentally ill people, some playing, some not, it was my job to determine what was really going on. I could not be animated like this. I would lightly cross my hands, stay very relaxed, no moving around, look them right in the eye. I could not do the voice inflections for every emotion that I do now. I had to speak very calmly, very clearly, with purpose, and I always looked directly at the person. I wanted to make sure that they knew that I appeared to care about what we were talking about. And staring directly at a person, you can see in their eyes whether they grasp what you're saying or not. What do they say? The eyes are the window to the soul. Yeah, they certainly are. You can tell a lot. Now, I couldn't use $20 words and 10-cent words. I had to tailor all my interviews based on the person and what I might have known about them already. I had a lot of repeat offenders, so a lot of them I already knew what it was going to go like going in. So, just be careful if you decide to try and help somebody out, because you're not going to know right off what's really going on, so you can't be sure of how a person's going to react. There is a time and a place for everything, so just use good common sense and judgment. Oh, and don't feel like you need to have another person or 2 other people approach that person with you. Automatically they're going to be on the defensive. There's 3 people in their mind coming at me. Remember, these people they might be hitting the bottle, they might be doing some drugs. You just don't know. People do very uncharacteristic things when in their mind they've reached a point where they can't cope or deal with what's going on. But almost everything that you're going to see here from someone is normally a subliminal cry for help. Now, the easiest way for us to avoid all these situations is to not let people isolate themselves so much that they fall into these states. Okay? And remember, you have to take care of yourself also. We're no good to anybody else if we're not strong also. We got some trying times coming, or already here, depending on who you talk to. I don't know where it's all going to end up. I have some ideas, but that's not the focus of this video. So, that's where I'm going to leave it for now. I'd appreciate a like or a share or comments on this. I'm not the world's leading authority on all the topics I discuss, but I have a ton of common sense, a lot of real world experience, and if we can just help one person who's in distress, that helps a lot of people. So until next time, JT, signing out.